Terry and Felipe meets Mr. Bernard Wanyama, the chapter president.
Experience working in the financial services sector in the information technology and internal audit departments. Mr. Bessie has strong experience and skills in information systems audit, information systems security, and information systems risk management, digital finance, banking systems, enterprise storage, help desk, networks, and communication, and IT project management. He has for over years worked with different financial institutions such as Global Trust Bank, Uganda Limited, Guarantee Trust Bank, Uganda Limited, and currently with BRAC Uganda Bank Limited as Manager Information Systems Audit. He has a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Master of Science in Information Systems from Makerere University and an ITL Foundation Certificate in IT Service Management. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to hand you over to Mr. Mwesigwa to take us through the next segment. Thank you very much, Mr. Bessie. Over to you.
Thanks so much, John, for that wonderful introduction. I hope that I'm audible enough and everyone can hear me.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you. My role today is to introduce our presenters, our facilitators who are going to take us through our topic for today, as has been introduced, which is developing business resilience in Africa, insights from NIS2 and the DORA directives. Our speakers for today is Mr. Teddy Wamanakasina and Mr. Felipe Kwando. I hope I've gotten the pronunciation correct.
Very good.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. To go through the profile, Mr. Teddy is an accomplished IT security professional with over 25 years experience crafting and deploying robust security solutions across the cloud and on-premise environments. He's an accomplished CISO, delivering robust risk management strategies to multinational board of directors. He's also a seasoned audit executive with a proven record in business risk management and mitigation. He's a skilled educator and trainer, well-versed in banking regulations, and has provided top-tier awareness to C-level executives. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Teddy for today's session. Allow me also to introduce our next presenter, who is Felipe Kwando. Felipe has over 35 years of experience, 25 years of experience in IS and 15 years experience in DC infrastructures, including 10 years experience in cybersecurity domain. Mr. Felipe supports the CIOs, the information security managers, CISOs for governance, security policy, management of repositories, audit and control, the challenges of information systems, information function and process analysis methodologies, diagnosis, and associated quality approaches. He supports the techniques of architectures, both functional and all components of the technical infrastructure of information systems, that is Windows, Unix, Linux, NAS, SAN, LAN, /1, messaging, AD, Windows, DNS, antivirus, firewall, proxy, among the others. He also supports the operators of virtual importance and operators of essential services for their, that is ISO 27001 and 002 certification with integration of the draft regulation of the European Commission in brackets DORA, Digital Operation Resilience Act, and mitigation from the NIS1 to the NIS2 directive. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Philippe for today's session. And also, let me take this opportunity to request Teddy and Philippe to take us away. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also on your side. Thank you very much.
Okay. We lost the sound. Okay.
We lost the presentation. John, can you activate it again?
So you're presenting from the other one that you sent us? Hello?
Okay. Hello, let me present, let me do.
Basic, please project the other presentation.
Yeah. It is back.
Yeah, it is back. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, I take the hands just for this slide with Teddy, just to put you know, the landscape that we saw in Africa actually. To be very precise and to make a synthesis, because it's quite complex. Africa is a big continent. Africa actually, as we say, resilient, is affected by its economic policy and political instability over the global environment, with the specific climate and war and terrorism, and also the vastness of territories. It's a really complex environment that you have to manage, and also to dedicate it per country. So we encourage also everybody to take care about security globally. And digital trust is about ensuring that there is a strong governance inside your organization, and you have your clients and providers also invited to work with you closely for cybersecurity aspects and domains, but also your shareholders to participate to the development of the certain and relevant security. That's the message that we wanted to give with Teddy today.
Maybe I can add something, Philip. If you...
Yes, of course.
Of course, we presented the African context in terms of what we call in the concept of VUCA, which is volatility, uncertainty, ambiguity, complexity, and ambiguity. We found that this concept fits directly to the African countries because the complexity of the different stakeholders, the number of the countries that are impacted in African country, and also the rapidly changing international environment. And we'll see later on that finally in Africa, banking sector, what I mean by banking sector is very specific to Africa, like the mobile banking or the payment industries. It is far ahead compared to what we have in Europe. So it is a trigger for us to introduce the resilience of African countries in terms of VUCA. Yeah, you can continue. Okay. I take the lead on this one. So in this session, we, as you can see in the slide, we have the business continuity planning and digital trust. at ISACA. I am myself an accredited trainer for CISA, CSM, CRISC, and CDPSC. And in this context, I saw that the importance of business continuity planning, you can see it in the fourth certificate. And the business continuity planning, it's the process for creating a system of prevention and to be able to deal with it. I can ask all the audience today, can you handle 24 hours, 72 hours, 1 week in which we have business interruptions that are caused by cybersecurity, for example? In these sessions, we will be talking about business resilience, but we will take lessons for two regulations, which is called the NIS2 and DORA, Digital Operation Resilience Act. We will look in some threats, but we'll see, but mainly in cybersecurity, because we think that the cyber attack needs to have a special focus in African context, because it is something that may be underestimated or with lack of resources, as with the complexities, with some ambiguities, as the VUCA context what we saw. And we believe that the two regulations that we are talking about is NIS2 and DORA, which leads to what we call digital trust. At ISACA, we are promoting what we call digital trust. It is the integrity of relationship, interactions. It's all the stakeholders, including supplier, consumer, and the intermediate step to go towards something that we have confidence with is the NIS2 of DORA. NIS2 is for the industrial sector, and DORA is for the banking sector. Okay, next slide, please. Why we need the digital trust and the resilience that can help African countries? By thinking ahead, having a roadmap, having a thought on the existing organizations, existing state, existing situation that we have now, the African countries can benefit from economic growth, financial inclusions like we have in the mobile banking, education and healthcare, moving ahead in smart city and infrastructures. We saw that finally political stability may be an issue. It's a challenge to have a government service in place. Everybody can have, for example, an ID, what can be digital. I saw real progress in Africa in terms of cybersecurity and data protection. I worked with Cameroon. I worked with Ivory Coast. I worked with Senegal. I worked with Burkina Faso. I worked with Congo. I worked with some Moroccan countries. I have a taste from different regulators how it happens, how the need, the challenge for cybersecurity and data protection. And of course, if we have more resilience, you will have more foreign investment. We can go more, have more innovation and entrepreneurship. And the big challenge what we have is digital literacy. We are not only about cybersecurity, maybe we can talk about artificial intelligence, metaverse, Internet of Things. There are new technology like blockchain that may be important for some applications in Africa, but the move towards it is what we are looking for. Okay, next slide, please. While we are talking about business continuity planning towards resilience, you can see that, for example, it happened in the past that we can have an iceberg and a ship has had an accident about that. We can have a nuclear attack. We can have what we call something very rare, but with a big impact. In Africa, we can meet a bear which is a bear in a winter, in a cold countries, something very rare. We called it le cygne noir, the black swarm. In the risk management, we talk about black swarm. So if you are thinking about resilience or a business continuity planning, we have to think about an event that can be rare, we didn't think about, and it can happen. Of course, in any countries now we are suffering for climate change. In terms of sustainability, we can have it. In China, the importance of Asian countries, the dragon, is impacting quite a lot the African countries, but I put it next to the US and American companies. Any companies in Africa, they are doing quite, let's say, digital businesses, web and e-government. They are trying to build something around around internet. We have to be very careful about cybersecurity. Hackers are everywhere. We can have social engineering, phishing, and we have a list about that. It is very easy to steal money in the digital sector than going to have a bank. And the different technology, 5G, 6G, Internet of Things, different stuff, also a kind of threats in the industry. And starting from the Ukraine war or in any political political events, we have fake news, and those regulations and the resilience of the countries, of the companies, is based on the internal control that we have to put in place, and it can be benefit to have something related to business continuity planning towards residents. That's the main message about the different pictures. And of course, at the end, I'm waiting for a different question. Next slide, please. If you look at the risk trend in the last 3 years, I took it in the Institute of Internal Audit. The topic of today is business continuity planning and resilience. Okay, please continue. Yeah, what happens if you don't have a business continuity plan? What happens if we don't have digital trust? What happens if we didn't put in place the disaster recovery plan? If we didn't put in place different controls that are managing risk? You see the graph, but you can click again, please. You can see that companies, going back. You can see that company with BCP, they resist. They are more resilient, 20% more. And company that has suffered from a loss from different aspects in cybersecurity or loss in confidence in the suppliers, loss in the employees that cannot go to the office, loss in some cybersecurity attack after 24 hours, after 1 month, after 3 months, they disappear. In terms of, let's say, trading days, they lost quite a lot of the value of the company. So it's important, it is proven that if you have a business continuity plan in place, you are more resistant and you can build more stronger digital trust for our country, for your company, and for the different consortium that you have. This is a study provided by Business Continuity Institute among 1,500 listed companies. Next slide, please. And to benefit from business continuity plan and the digital trust, but you need to build a positive reputation. By doing that, you have to listen to our presentation to the end. We are in a business-like companies. You have to build a stronger customer loyalty. They want to work with you. They want to work with Africa. They want to work with some African countries if you benefit from that. You have to build a more reliable data for decision making. If you have electricity, electricity is down, but finally, it's not helping a positive reputation. If you have data that has been lost, well, we have breaches, 60%. It's not helping for a benefit of digital trust, and also fewer cybersecurity incidents. Okay, please continue. And the obstacle to reach for digital trust is, I saw at the beginning that in Africa, we have an environment that can be vulnerable. Vulnerable because most of the time, they don't have the skills and the training. It is the same in Europe, but it may be, I work for Ivory Coast on business continuity plan. We lack, for example, a DBA, a database administration. We don't have a backup. And one day we couldn't restore the system. So we lost a lot of money. We lost the confidence of customer. We lost confidence also in the capacity of running the business, okay? Lack of leadership buy-in. It means that in the VUCA model, ambiguous, complexity, sometimes leadership, CEO, the C-level executive, they are not have the right awareness to cybersecurity, to business continuity planning. 55% is quite huge. So it's also an obstacle that needs to be tackled. Lack of technological resources. Also an important way. Do we have morphine on premises? Do we have morphine on the cloud? Companies that are willing to work with African countries, they have to need trust. What do you master? The technological aspect that we are running in those countries. So lack of training, leadership, alignment of enterprise goals, digital cost, insufficient processes of governance. Where are the critical factors that need to be tackled to go to digital trust? If you look at the next slide on finally, in which aspect are we interested more today? On our business continuity plan and digital trust, we are thinking more about digital. And as you can see, we are in 2023. In 2023, we have $11.5 trillion estimated cost and cybercrime worldwide. And every year it will increase $3 trillion. And what we can see is it happened everywhere in the world, but it happened as well in the in African countries, what you can see in a minute. And also in the last 3 years, 2021, 2022, 2023, we have an increase in, let's say, attacks everywhere. So we have to be protected against that. Okay, next slide, please. Philippe, you will have it or not? Okay.
Yes, I can take the hand, but we share together because
Okay.
this is very complex situation that we have to explain here. But one word, if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask the question during the presentation. It's really open mind. So here with Teddy, we confirm that cybercrime led to a 10% reduction of in Africa GDP 2 years ago. It's really huge. It's about a cyber attack, different one. We just make a selection of few of them. malware phishing, DDoS is very famous. Also ransomware, it's a catastrophe, even in Africa, but even in Europe or all over the world. I think ransomware, it's a virus. Really, we are concerned. Everybody is concerned about every organization have to fight with ransomware. Data exfiltration that Teddy explained already. Data protection must be on a high level, and also site defacement. Teddy will explain what is site defacement.
Okay.
Teddy,
it's farming. Yeah, it's farming. PHRR farming. Site defacement is let's say I took the official site of a company, but it's not the official one. If you go there, so it's what we call farming. And the most important is not the cyber attack itself. Who in Africa is able to, let's say, harm a company? Most of the time, what we noticed is it's not only the employee or the competitor, if we are talking about African countries. It's more about, if I'm talking about the digital sector, it's more about the fraudsters. There are many in different countries. We have to combat those different fraudsters. Their motivations are not only financial. We have nations, states, what can attack the other nations. They are looking for espionage. They are looking for political destabilization. They are looking to harm a company for reputation. And fraudster nations, I think it's the top two among, let's say, the actors of cyber attack. If we are talking about Africa, activists is less. We have more about fraudster nations. And what we have here is it's not only about financial motivation. It's about political destabilization. It's about the reputation of the company. We live in an extended company. In Africa, we have foreign countries as well. You have, in terms of infrastructure, we have to talk about in a minute. We have the leaders like Amazon Web Services. We have Google Cloud Platform, MMS Azure. You also have to manage those big companies in terms of internal control, in terms of audit, because you will be responsible for in terms of digital trust or business continuity plan. Next slide, please. I think it's for you, Philippe.
Yeah, the next slide is to explain the 6 cybersecurity domains. I think we need really to discuss in Africa about your infrastructure, because there are 2 big scenarios that you have in front of us. You have on-premise application inside your own data centers, and also most of the time you have also application on the cloud. And this is 2 different approach for cybersecurity. So we begin with ransomware. You can change the slide, please. And ransomware is, it's significant in Africa, especially in South Africa. There is a high impact, over 50% of businesses affected by ransomware. We know that, and this is really increasing. Not automatically on the South Africa, but on the majority of your country, ransomware is increasing, and even in Europe is increasing also. So we need to take care about that, but not to be afraid by everything. I think it's a question to take care about your métier, as we say, and to save your applications. You save your business, okay? And most of the time, you need to make an analysis of risk. When you do that, you have a clear picture about the scenarios you can have, where you can be aware about ransomware inside your organization. There is a various sector, including critical infrastructure for sure. Most of the time, I think in Africa, you're touched with healthcare. hospital, everything's linked with medical, and also maritime sector, because the sea is all over your continent. So this is the sector that you have to take care by default. And the rise in cybercrime, we will see it's to organize your strategy about cybersecurity and increase your infrastructure in African countries to combat this growing health for ransomware attacks. Voilà. This is the sentence that we can speak to today about ransomware.
Move on, please.
The other, and to complete, it's a data breach. The percentage of data breaches in Africa this year is about 3,010 and African accounts. So it's very important. So it represents 70% decrease from the previous quarter, and it's only 1% affected globally accounts. So data breach is also another scope to take care. And threat cape of African country for 2 years was about 23% increase in the average number of cyber attacks per week, and inside organization in Africa. So it's the same comparison between this year and the last year period. There is many sources you can check about the trend and numbers. So it's important to study that. I give you just 2 examples for that, but there are many others. So in each country in Africa, you can study data breach on details and to adapt inside your organization. Okay, the phishing. The phishing is also famous in Europe, but in Africa it's very famous also. What we can see is now phishing is very sophisticated. Even in Africa, we can notice then in Kenya and Nigeria and South Africa, there was touch about phishing. A lot of phishing attacks was made also on the government institution, but on the specific organization also, and you know, water organization, healthcare organization, bank organization are touched for phishing. So that's the point. Also, it's important to check regularly Interpol report, because in Africa they work well to help you and to make a good reporting. So I give you some example also for this. And Cisco also work on the trend reports with Umbrella's solution that they have. So they can obtain many information about phishing. So I invite you to take care about that, and to go on the Cisco site to study phishing situation on the specific country. Phishing also, it's big challenge in Africa, but you know that, and you will know exactly what to do if you have a good risk analysis. You can be very good on the phishing and to combat this kind of things. What I can explain also, if you can do that, of course, it's inside each organization, it's to really to push the cyber culture, meaning that you need to make some training with your employees and explain what it is a phishing, how to detect a phishing and so on, and to have a good reflex to combat about phishing. Voilà, that's important things. Your people need to be trained regularly, and it's very good to speak about that and not to put that on a corner. And I think more you discuss with your people, and the best it is, because with ideas you can be stronger about those things.
Next slide, please.
The lack of regulation. This is the kind of regulation. It's about cybersecurity measures also for fight with cyber criminals and to exploit growing digital insecurity and cyber threats in each region in Africa. Also, what we want to part here, it's the financial losses about the lack of regulation. Of course, the bank organization is on a high level, but there is also others organization, including the phishing also. So that's the point. And also the Interpol report, African cyber threat assessment. It was interesting to notice that cybercrime and the global sources, it's really has importance about defense and how to fight capabilities to find the best solution and to and the rest of the world also to find the good way to work about regulation and to to explain everything also inside the organization. Of course, there is a new area, a new picture coming very fast now is EA. EA, of course, will find a new situation and new vulnerabilities. And what also Teddy can explain to you, in Africa, you are very good on mobile and you do many things with your mobile, which is not the case automatically in Europe, for example. Mobile IoT devices are expected to rise about those things. And we need really to be proactive and to access some measures and a global coordination to address cybersecurity challenges in Africa. That's the two goals that you have in front of us in Africa, we are sure. Teddy, you speak a little bit about mobile, what you are feeling about this, because it's very particular in Africa.
Yeah, I will have the possibility to talk about it on
okay.
when I present DORA, but to give a little bit hint about it, what I saw is I worked with Africa in the last 12 years, and I noticed that in Africa we have what we call in-banked countries, and the regulators are pushing to use mobile payment and mobile banking, to compensate. And by doing that, it is very successful for mobile operators and for different companies in terms of mobile payment. And the regulations behind is, let's say, a little bit outdated. And when we are talking about business continuity planning, I think 80% of recommendations and findings that I have for the different regulators are coming from, let's say, this how we handle disaster recovery and how we put in place business continuity management in the ecosystem around it. And the regulations didn't follow up. And I think with the new different digitalization, they need to upgrade the regulation in terms of data protections, and then also in terms of in the banking sector to make those new actors in the banking sector more secure. This is what I saw in the last 12 years.
Okay, thank you, Teddy. Very important things to notice. The last topic about cybersecurity is awareness. the lack of the robust security awareness in Africa contributes, to increase the cybercrime, and this including phishing, of course. So we, even behind this phishing aspect, as I already said to you, you need to train your users. That's the point. That's the best way to combat also this awareness, and this is very important things. ER also provoke an expansion for sure for the spear phishing for sure, and the exploitation and production. In you will find some new vulnerabilities on your mobile and your IoT supply chain, for example. So protect your device and make sure that everybody has the best solution to respect the métier services. Also, Interpol reporting speak about that, so you will find really interesting information to help you to understand the actual situation and also your near future for that. The most important things I want to notice with you is the infrastructure. Infrastructure is really the nucleus and your basement about your organization. So you need to consider your infrastructure as vital, and you need to protect them. I think the resilience also is everywhere. So you need to think about your infrastructure as vital, but also like Teddy explained, for example, check your disaster recovery, check your business continuity planning, check your production plan. Everything has to be secured. And also if you met a problem, you're sure to have a solution just behind. So it's better to have some scenarios, even if doesn't appearing, but doesn't matter. You have something to do when it's happened, and you're not on the stress, and you have the manner to find a good solution when you have infrastructure impact. Vulnerabilities is complex also, so it's always link with the climate also, because you can have some countries more touched than the others, but I think everybody is on the same level, and the cyber threat, including phishing, also touch directly infrastructure. So take care about your infrastructure. It's like babies, so this is very important to notice today. So after that, there is a second part. It's the NIS2. We wanted we studied to share some information with network information security. This is the number 2. It's a new directive coming from Europe. You are attached directly in Europe, but also on your side, you can study this one. It gives you some important information also that you can take on your side, and probably to make some adaptation inside your country. It's a good started to take this NIS2 on consideration. In Europe, we have a very small timing, so we will explain you what is the timing in Europe, in order that you have a good knowledge about that. And also we study, we check 5 big domain linked directly with the NIS2. The first one is the aging cybersecurity preparedness, the lack of the tested security measures. You need to really work on that, and to be sure that you tested your infrastructure, your information system regularly, and also to take care about incidents. So that means that you have study, analyze your incident, and you have a response and the reporting associated about each incident. And also, if you can do that, make a centralization about your incident inside your own organization, but also perhaps to discuss with an internal forum to share good ideas about what you met, about each incident that you response and so on. That we do in Europe to, to mix the law and the regulation to be sure that everybody can have the same manner to answer to a specific incident response. Also, we think about the promoting cooperation and information sharing. I think in Africa there is really important thing about storage. Because you need to protect your data, and the data is the patrimoine of your societies. So we encourage you a lot to take care about your data. So save your data, make sure that they are well saved on a good storage point of view, but also try to do better than this, meaning that if you are capable to make some backups, you're capable also to make some restoration. And restoration is also very important as a complementaire than a backup. It's reciprocity. If you make a backup, you know how to restore it. So that's the point today. The fourth one is the infrastructure protection. So most in African governments outsource majority of their technology infrastructure. So that's mean that
Hello? Philippe?
Hello?
Hello, John. John,
Philip?
are you there?
Yes, I'm there. But I think we've lost Philippe.
Philippa is still on call, and so is Terry, probably.
I am here, Teddy.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe we can continue and going back to NIS2 after. So in that sense, we don't lose any track.
Yeah, true.
I can talk about DORA.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, please continue the slide, and we come back in on NIS2 with Philippe after. Okay. Next. Okay. Yeah. Digital Operational Resilience Act. I think it is interesting in the banking sector. But what I mean in the banking sector, it's a side banking sector. It's about the mobile banking and the mobile payment. I saw a huge opportunity in Africa. In Africa, we have 170 million lines in services. We have 621 million registered accounts. I'm really impressed. And it's different. I think it's the same, almost the same penetrations in Western Africa, in Northern Africa, in Central Africa, in Southern Africa, and Eastern Africa. It is used everywhere, the use of a mobile payment, and there is some regulation about it. What you look at the figures, we have 1.35 billion registered mobile money accounts. So it is really used and participate in the financial inclusions and even in the economic growth in Africa. I used to go to Africa every year, and I have possibilities to deal with different regulators in Africa. And what I noticed is even in very let's say, distant spot. Someone can pull out his mobile phone, make paying electricity bills, going to university, sending money to his uncle or to his aunt or to his cousin or to his family in the country, in a different country. This is something that is becoming a banking environment in Africa. In just if there is an increase of 31%, and my figures dated back to 2022, and the way it is working is different as with the traditional bank. We have active agent, and someone can be a distributors. But when we have, let's say, mobile payment behind it, you need to be registered as a mobile banking. So finally, we are in the banking sector. There are 360 mobile money deployments active in 98 countries. So it's really huge what we have it worldwide, but I saw a big increase and opportunity in the mobile money in 2022 in Africa. Go ahead, please. So the cybersecurity, I noticed from my experience, I worked with 14 countries in Africa in the mobile payment fraud. And what I mean by fraud is the digital fraud, the cybersecurity behind. We can have it with the customer. We can make fraud. We can have it with the distributors, what I call agent, with induced fraud. We can have it with service providers. In terms of mobile operator, we can have it. We can have the system impacted in fraud. And this is the one I am interested in terms of business continuity plan and the resilience. The systems impacted by fraud, I don't want it to happen because most of, in Mali, for example, 70 to 75% of the economy is payment by the mobile. So it is really something important in the country. And the idea, what we have with Philippe today is by looking at the future ahead of the two regulations, one of them is DORA, Digital Operation Resilience Act. The fraud and cybersecurity risk, they can be prevented by enhancing the control that are planned to be in the DORA regulation. So let's have a look at it. Next slide, please. What means DORA? It is coming from the European Union. They noticed, but in the last 3 years, there is an increase of uncontrollable cybersecurity. So they want to create this regulation. So when I had the contact with Isaka Kampala, I proposed these topics because why not? We in Africa, we are thinking, taking the lessons of what is planned in Europe and also enhancing our existing control. Because this DORA, which is Digital Operational Resilience Act, it legislates the IT risk management requirements. It protects the consumers. It prevents incidents. What happens if involves mobile banking in Africa, involves mobile payment in Africa? It doesn't work for 1 month. It's really a huge impact economically. It's really huge impact in terms of digital trust. It's really huge impact even with companies because they are paying. It is a part of the economy. And the measurement coming from DORA is we have to increase the preparedness of incident and management obligations. We have to increase the cybersecurity monitoring, but we are talking about mobile payment. Social engineering is happening quite often. The client can lose money. If they lose money, the business is impacted as well. you are very dependent in the mobile payment in the third-party mobile operators. What happens if you don't manage, have control on those mobile operators? And the DORA is helping to have some stress testing and evaluation on the big digital third party. Okay, we also have a new actors in DORA. We have new supervisory, so we can create it in Africa, but it's not the banking supervisory anymore, but someone or an organization that can be created in a national level or at different countries in Africa, that will be the supervisory body for cybersecurity that make happen these legislations. And if they don't comply with, we can put penalties, and we increase as well the level of awareness of security. This DORA will happen in Europe in just, let's say, 14 months. And it is a good opportunity to have a thinking for African countries, because it will happen as well. We have many digital things. We have e-commerce. We have things in government, what we want to digitalize. And we have an ecosystem of a banking, and we have to develop for our economy. Okay, next slide, please. Who is targeted by DORA? Credit institutions, insurance, but also payment institutions, trading venues, investment firm, but also service providers. They need to be in compliance with DORA. So if you are working in the financial sector and you are working with big American companies or European companies, they need to be compliant with your regulation. So it is important. Third-party service providers that are contributing in the digital sector in Africa in terms of this DORA can be also targeted. I am putting an analogy of European countries to Africa. I'm thinking ahead, because if we noticed in Africa as well, cybersecurity has increased more than 50% in the last 3 years. So this is something that we shouldn't underestimate at all, and it can touch all of the financial sector. Next slide, please. So what needs to be implemented? There are different articles on it, but IT risk management. I think I audited around. I have 12 years auditing IT, and in the 12 years auditing IT, I think I did 50% in Africa. So I know a little bit some countries in Africa, but not all. It's big, and I saw that the IT risk management is most of the time, let's say, the level of maturity. We need governance in place. We need to convince the board of directors. We need to put some risk framework. The willing to do it is maybe good, but sometimes we lack resources. We lack some management sponsors, and we also lack some technical harmonized measures. And with the DORA, they are writing it in advance. I'm not talking about you should be DORA compliant. I'm talking about you should learn from this regulation. On the incident management, what happened again? Free time I ask the question, are you prepared to have 1 month, let's say, incident and no application, no infrastructure is accessible, is broken down? You should differentiate what is incident with major incidents. We should have this category, and you should have this category nationally and within African countries. It is good to have a business continuity plan, but it is better to have it with resilience test. You need to have a proof with your third party. You need to have a proof that they manage correctly the IT that you have. And when you have an incident, the difficulty in the banking sector is to share information. You have to have the capability, the capacity to build defensive capacity through information exchange. Let's build it together. Think about it. There are some initiatives. Let's sponsor those initiatives. This is what you learn from DORA. This is the solutions. This is a proposition that every leaders in IT and in cybersecurity need to think of. Next slide, please. Okay, I make my research, some analysis, and I saw that there are a lot of initiatives in Africa. So I put one enabling African countries to identify, address their cyber security needs. I say bravo, like we have in France. I think it's a good way to start. We need to, every companies, they have to have a comprehensive risk assessment and a robust cybersecurity measure. The most important is to be prepared, have the incident response plan, not only at enterprise level, but at national level and in different countries. The awareness and training is very important. We need to have the leaders of tomorrow in terms of cybersecurity. Let's train the people. Let's work with ISACA. Let's took the different certification, the CISA. Let's build the our youngsters to combat terrorism, to combat the cybersecurity. This is an international challenge. It cannot be done alone. So we have to build a framework that is not European. We have to build a framework that is adapted, customized, personalized with the African context. So it is the role of the regulators. We need to cooperate with Uganda, with South Africa, with Cameroon. Something needs to be created as well. We need to promote the digital literacy. And as Philippe talked about, the most important in Africa, I think in the six, let's say, threats that he introduced is the threat of infrastructures. I think the cloud, I saw some question about cloud. It's one of the, let's say, solutions that we have, but you need resources. You need the right infrastructures. You need the right resources on this because the distance doesn't mean anything. So we can to build the champion of tomorrow in Africa in terms of infrastructures and be having a continuous monitoring and improvement. This is the lesson learned from DORA. How can the business balance operational efficiency with the need of heightened security measure? Of course, if we are talking about security, we have to talk about what the regulators is expecting and what also our client is expecting. If we are talking about DORA, DORA is the financial sector. You can have Bank of Africa, you can have EcoBank, you can have Citigroup working in Africa, you can have a JP Morgan in Africa. Their expectation is very high. So if you build a security by design, when you build your infrastructure, you are thinking about security in advance. It costs less. And also in terms of monitoring and the maintenance, you can have cooperation of someone in South Africa, competencies in South Africa. One is in Cameroon, one is Ivory Coast, and you can have someone which is built in the cloud. So building the business needs with security, you can deal with what by security by design. It costs less. Okay. And also, if you are working with multinationals on the cloud sectors, the level of security is already in somewhat accepted in many countries. Their standard is already high. So you have let's say the business ready to use if you are working with these companies. Next slide, please, if there are any. Okay, so this is a kind of introductions, lesson learned from business resiliency, those two regulation, network infrastructure and security too, and the DORA, it is the same. It's targeting the incident management, in targeting the third-party risk management, in targeting cooperation among nations. I think there are, let's say, best practices, good idea, and also standards that you can use to comply with, but it needs to be adapted in the African context. I finished, and I say big thank you for listening, and I am waiting for questions. Are there specific areas within cybersecurity where organizations need to focus us? Of course, we were talking about ISO 27001 or 27002. I think in expectation for companies is to have this certification. It's kind of a guarantee or a confidence that we are doing the right things. If we are doing it, we are almost 40 to 50% compliant. So it's good. But if you want to go further, we need to have a basic training on the security practices. You need to have business continuity and crisis management to be enhanced. We need to have a policy and a procedure and cybersecurity risk. And the thing areas that need to be targeted most is what we call SOC, the Security Organization Center. I think we can have that in Africa, and if we can have that in place, it can be regional, and it can be managed, let's say, for the different business that we have, industrial or in the financial sector. Any more question I didn't answer? Because let me check.
And there is another question about the clouds. Is the cloud is a good solution to infrastructure vulnerability? Yes, we can say yes, but you have to take care about your contract link, because you have a specific SLAs, and those SLAs can impact your applications. Following your choice, if you have a SaaS or a PaaS application and something like this. So the cloud is a good solution for sure, but take care about your contract when you sign it, and also the SLAs link inside your contract. It's very important.
What I saw in the cloud is, in terms of deployment, we have what we call infrastructure of the services. So you have locations, and we can build, let's say, the infrastructures on this cloud. And the remaining operating centers, the securities, development of applications is on the client side. The second step is a platform as services. We have the infrastructures, but we have also the database. We have the virtual machine. We put operating system on it, and we can develop application. I saw it as a big opportunity. I think this, if a platform as services, it's a mix of a good solution for cloud, because you in African countries, you still have the possibility to develop, but you don't have to think about in which infrastructure is it. So I think the platform as services and the software as services, it's really a good solution for African countries, because they have to have the development of application in their hand. So it's better than just the infrastructure of the services. What other question, please? And also in terms of redundancy, there are what we call 3-to-1 in terms of a backup. We need 3 backups in terms of best practices. The 2 first backup is in different, one is in a NAS, one is in a magnetic tape, for example, and the third backup, it should be offsite. And the cloud is a good solution to have an offsite backup.
Okay, thank you so much, Felipe and Teddy. We've really learned a lot today. There are some more questions from the chat, and these particular ones are from Rita, and she's asking that, in your experience, how can businesses effectively collaborate with regulatory bodies to ensure compliance with NIS2 and the DORA directives? Yeah. Are you going to answer question by question, or I read them and you answer at once? Or
yeah, for I think starting from now on, regulators in Africa, they should make contact directly with ENISA, European National Information Security Agency, how they build their regulations, and also update the regulations in Africa based on the context of Africa, because don't copy and paste. We need to have like I'm talking about DORA. The banking sector in Africa is completely different from what we have in Europe with the unbanked, but they are in advance in terms of payment. And those payments, they have new functionalities. And I think it's like a banking. The wallet is like the mobile wallet is like a banking. So we need to think about, do we have ransomware about it? Who is the mobile operators? What is the third party behind? We need to control them more. So we have to write down on a paper, black and white, some regulation about it, especially about resilience, because it is not sufficient. We put ourselves in danger if we as African countries, myself, I'm coming partly from Africa. They need to upgrade the regulations, and they need to cooperate first between different African countries, and having someone in place like I saw that, for example, in Ivory Coast, the regulation dated back in 2009 or 10. We are in 2023. Many things have happened. Many new functionalities have been proposed. Is the regulation that we have in 10 years ago are adapted for comprehensive, protect our customer and our countries. Regulators should do about it. So they need to improve as well their own knowledge. The difficulties for regulators around the world, not only in Africa, they don't understand technology. They have to be young people who understand artificial intelligence, understand the risk behind cybersecurity. They need to mix the populations what will be enact the regulation. This is my advice around it. How they can do it, they have to build associations around the questions. They have to propose draft. They have to work with international corporations, and people like ISACA is another international organization. They can propose to ISACA to help them, and then they create, let's say, a draft proposal, and we as at ISACA can help you as well, or any other organization. What do you foresee the future trend in cybersecurity regulation for business in Africa? I answered it, okay? As very specific area, cybersecurity, I answered it. How can business balance operational efficiency? I answered it. How can business balance, okay, so the same. Resiliency for the cloud, we answered. So we answered every question now.
Just to add simple things that Teddy explained, I think to be complete about the explanation from Teddy, think about your university and your high school also to maintain a good knowledge about your people, your children. I think students must be involved about cybersecurity on the small age. And when you have the opportunity to be a student in Africa in university, you need to have a cybersecurity training and courses.
Ah, very good. Yeah, I think we have to build. For example, I saw in different countries, but they are working with ISACA in many universities, and they propose to have a CISA, to have a CISM in the module of university. This is a way to create a future champion of cybersecurity. You have to start with education. Philip is right. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do we have questions in our Q&A? The question that was there has been answered. Philippe and Teddy, I thank you so much for the knowledge that you've shared today. I believe that all of us who are on this session have learned a lot. I'm going to ask everyone to really give Philippe and Teddy a round of applause.
It was a pleasure to share
Yes.
information with you always. And Teddy and myself, you know, we are linked in Africa. So we are always thinking about you. And if you need any support, help, please ask for us, and we will try to help you as we can.
Okay. And myself, as in the introductions, I am an accredited ISACA trainer for CISA, CISM, CDPSC, and CRISC, and I am an active member of ISACA. So we, with Philippe, we are here to promote as well the ISACA organization.
Oh, thank you so much. I think also as ISACA Kampala chapter will continue to leverage on your expertise to improve our cybersecurity landscape in Uganda here.
Excellent.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, allow me to hand over to our host for today, who is Mr. John Chikubi. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Bessie, for taking us through this, for moderating our session. Thank you very much once again, Felipe and Mr. Teddy, for facilitating this session. It's been very insightful and eye-opening, especially on the bit of business resilience. I always tell people that regulation in one area of this continent will always have an impact on the operations in any other part of the continent. The same way we've had the impact of the General Data Protection Regulation spilling over to the rest of Africa and the other continents. I believe these directives will also have a spillover effect at some point. So the earlier we get used to them, and the earlier we try to remodel our cybersecurity policies to be in line with those directives, the better we shall be. Thank you very much, Felipe and Teddy. Thank you very much for dedicating your time to facilitate this session. I know I reached out to you on short notice, but you were very positive on facilitating, and we're very grateful as ISACA Kampala chapter and on my behalf. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Okay. So next on the agenda, we are going to have the announcements. Okay, the announcement we're having, we have our last webinar for this year, and it will be on 14th December. Our topic will be auditing network devices with NIPA. The same time, that is 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. East African time. please register. We shall start sending out the communication as early as tomorrow. So watch out for the link for registration so that we can join this last webinar together. Then members, allow me to welcome. Allow me to get the closing remarks from our chapter president or the vice president, whoever is on call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Thank you, colleagues. This is Bernard. I serve as the president at ISACA Kampala. Teddy and Philippe, merci beaucoup.
Yes, we can get you, President.
Yes, thank you for everything. We are grateful. Teddy and Philippe, merci beaucoup. Nous sommes reconnaissants pour la collaboration. I hope, John, you can understand that language. But we also...
Thank you for the French.
Wow, wow.
Your French is very good. We understand everything.
and that's where it ends. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. It's been a great collaboration and sharing with Teddy and Philip. I think we are wiser now, and we are more focused on the higher level controls at industry and global level that can add value to our individual work as well as our organizations that we support. I want to recognize our board members present. I will not go into naming all of them, but I thank them for being available and running the chapter programs. I also recognize our senior members who are with us today and those who always make time to be part of this. It is a pleasure to be with you and to be able to interact with you on these occasions. In a special way, I want to also recognize our senior ISACA leader from the South Africa chapter, President Kenneth Palliam. Kenneth, thank you for always joining us and contributing. We are grateful, and please send our regards to the South Africa chapter. So, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting a lot of your time, allow me to bring this session to a close by wishing you a great evening, and I look forward to more engagement. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you and a good evening to you all.
Thank you, John. Thank you, President. Bye-bye.
Thanks, John.